The fourth habit that keeps you weak, and I promise that you are suffering from this. Fucked up sleep. A poor sleeping pattern. You thought all of the things I was gonna say was just gonna be like, oh yeah, like porn and video games, bro. Sleep is the fundamental thing that you need to improve on, that the majority of young men need to improve on. I wanna ask you a question. I'm gonna see how smart you really are. How many hours of sleep do we need per night? Yeah, everyone says like 7 to 8 or whatever, right? Let's say 8. If you want 8 hours of sleep and you need to wake up at 6 a.m., what time do you go to bed? Answer that question right now. Answer that fucking question right now. Everyone will say 10 p.m., won't they? One of the truths that not many people ever like to think about is that the time that you spend in bed is not the same as the hours of sleep that you get. This ring is very expensive. It's like $300, $400, but it tracks your sleep meticulously. And when you track your sleep with a device like this, you realize that there's such a thing called sleep efficiency. And sleep efficiency is kind of like the percentage of time that you are asleep of the time that you're actually in bed. And a good sleep efficiency is 80%. You know what that means? If you want 8 hours of sleep, like what's recommended by all these people, you know, if you want higher testosterone, sleep at least 8 hours a night. You know, you've always heard that, right? If you want 8 hours of sleep, you need to be in bed for 10 hours. If you need to wake up at 6 a.m., you need to go to bed at 8 p.m. No one is doing that. So you need to right now not think that this is talking about someone else. You need to hold your hand up right now and say, fuck, my sleeping pattern could use some improvements. I will do it right now. My sleeping pattern could use some improvements. When you track your sleep, you realize just how shitty sleep you're actually getting, even though it kind of felt okay. The fifth bad habit that's keeping you weak is a poor, modern Western diet. Fast food and sugar. I'm not gonna spend much time on this because it's just common fucking sense. If you're eating shit, if your diet isn't great and you're eating quite like processed, you know it is, right? A lot of people will just spend so long grilling you on it, but no one will tell you what is literally the most practical, specific advice that you can do to like, how do you actually start eating healthier? No one actually gives you good advice on that. You know, people will tell you, oh, well, eat fruits and vegetables, but they don't tell you, okay, how can a guy who's normally eating 3 to 4 unhealthy meals per day, how can he actually transform that realistically in a way that he literally would do? The specific advice that you can implement is literally choose one meal a day to change to a meal that is just entirely of vegetables, specifically potatoes, as like the main carb source. And then if you are a meat eater, with a bit of meat. So essentially just one meal per day, have salmon, chicken, whatever you can like bake in the oven alongside a bunch of vegetables like potatoes drizzled in olive oil. And that is like one meal that's now incredibly healthy. It's very minimally processed compared to like all the bullshit that you get from like McDonald's, like hyper processed foods. It's easy to cook and it'll even taste nice if you bake it and you actually drizzle it with olive oil. And olive oil is very healthy as well.